payments for businesses screwed over by this lockdown.
The good news for the people of New South Wales is that the Morrison government is partnering with the Berejiklian government, Paul, to provide significant economic support. There are two key payments here. There's an income support payment for households, for individuals, and then there's a business cash flow boost payment, as you say, depending on the reduction in their turnover. Let me deal with the individual payment to households first. If a person has lost more than 20 hours of work per week as a result of the lockdown, then they will now get a payment of $600 a week. If they've lost between 8 and 20 hours a week of work, they will get a $375 payment per week. That will be worked through and delivered by Services Australia. It's per individual, so you can have as many payments in a household. It depends on the individual and their hours lost.
So explain to everyone watching right now who's in one of these small to medium businesses, how do you qualify as a business for help?
If a business has a turnover of between $75,000 a year and $50 million a year, and they have seen their turnover decline by 30% or more during this lockdown, then they will be able to get a payment that varies between $1,500 a week and $10,000 a week. And the size of that payment will actually depend on the size of that business's payroll. And we've structured it in a way, Paul, that that amount the business receives is roughly equivalent to about 40% of their weekly payroll.
Now, when do the payments start? Are they backdated to the middle of June when all of this thing started to get out of control, or it starts from the 4th week of lockdown, which of course is this Saturday?
Only from next week for this particular payment, but as you know, we've had income support available from the 2nd week of the lockdown, and New South Wales has had their own additional payments that have been available to businesses. But this cash flow boost has been modelled to a large extent on what we did during the pandemic. And as you know, businesses have a range of expenses that are incurred regardless of whether there's customers coming through the door. They've got utilities bills, water, electricity bills, they've got rent to pay, they might even have some payments and debts to pay to suppliers or to the bank as well. So this will enable these businesses to be able to get through this period. There's also, importantly, a requirement on these businesses who receive this payment that they have to keep their headcount as of today. So we don't want them letting go workers, we want them keeping workers, and that is why there is that requirement with this payment.
A lot of sole traders watching us right now. They are both businesses and, of course, sole traders. So do they get the business support and the sole trader payment?
You don't get both payments, so you're either an employing business or you're a non-employing business, effectively a sole trader. And in that case, you get a flat payment of $1,000 a week. And so we've distinguished between the sole traders and we've distinguished between the employing businesses, and that's, very clear.
Now, there'll be lots of sooking from other states, and I know Victoria's already starting to blow up, but let's make this clear. This isn't just for New South Wales. This is, God forbid, any lockdowns that go longer than 4 weeks.
This is a national template that we have put in place that can apply in other states should they go through an extended lockdown like we're seeing in New South Wales. New South Wales got the same support as Victoria did, and as you know, that support kicked in from week 2. But because this lockdown has gone for an extended period of time, we're providing extra support, not just at the income level for families, households, individual workers, but also at the business support level. So we understand how important it is to get families, to get businesses to the other side of this crisis. As you know, we've been there for the people of New South Wales, indeed for the people of Australia from day one of this crisis. We've already delivered, Paul, more than $60 billion to the New South Wales economy in direct economic and health support from the start of this crisis, and now these are additional significant payments that will flow.
Now, I can't work out off the top of my head the exact numbers, but how are these payments different to what people had during JobKeeper? Because put simply, if you're in Greater Sydney, it's basically back where we were 12 months ago when they needed JobKeeper.
The $600 and $375 payment, which we've announced today, that is a per week payment. So it's the same amount that people were getting for JobKeeper in the December quarter of last year. And as you remember, in that quarter, Victoria actually went into a lockdown then. So that is the amount being paid today, which is equivalent to the December quarter of JobKeeper last year. What we have announced is today two payments that are in tandem, a income support payment and a cash flow boost payment. And it's important to see how they complement each other. And then the third point is JobKeeper was originally for 6 months and we extended it for another 6 months. We brought a second tiered payment, we tapered it as well, and then we brought it to an end. And the economy has rebounded very strongly. As you know, the unemployment rate has fallen since the end of JobKeeper. Now, we anticipated that there would be further lockdowns. That's why we put in the budget pool just a matter of weeks ago an extra $40-odd billion for direct economic support across the country, tax relief, immediate expensing provisions, infrastructure projects and the like. So I believe that the economy is very resilient. I believe that the New South Wales health officials are going to work diligently and professionally to get on top of this virus. But until this virus ends, the Morrison government will continue to provide significant economic support, not just in New South Wales, but right across the country.
So